Congressman Goldman, I know you were in Tel Aviv when the attack started, you with your family and your young daughters and son, and you managed to get back. But as you stand there tonight in Washington, listening to the president, listening to the Secretary of State, and given your recent experience being there, is there something more? Is there something else you would like to hear from them?
Well, I do think that President Biden has shown incredible leadership and really demonstrated the solidarity that the United States has with Israel, and also the blanket opposition to any terrorist groups around the world, whether it be al-Qaeda, ISIS, or now Hamas, with its horrific brutality over the weekend. And I do have some information that I believe the State Department is working very hard and will be able to begin the process of helping Americans get home within the next day or two. And that's obviously very top of mind for everyone, especially for me. I have thousands of people from my district who are stranded in Israel right now.
Yeah, I think a lot of us have friends and people who have relatives and friends there. Many of us have been on the phone with them since this started, and I'm sure for you it has just been nonstop with your district and your own family and friends. I read in your hometown newspaper, the New York Daily News, about your time spent during the attacks in the hotel stairwell with your wife and your children, and trying to explain this to your 9-year-old and to your 6-year-old. What have you been able to say to them as they go through what is, I suppose, in their lives, their first sense, their first full sense of how Israel and Jews are threatened in this world?
Yeah, and that's the right question, because Israelis deal with this from very young ages. It is unfortunately a fact of life over there to deal with bomb sirens, to deal with sheltering, to deal with rocket fire from Hamas and its other terrorist brothers and sisters. For us, of course, it was brand new, and I'm familiar with how the Iron Dome works, of course, and how the sirens work, but my kids have no idea much about war, much about any of that. So it's been a process, and each of them are dealing with it differently, but it's not over. Last night, my 9-year-old daughter woke up and couldn't get back to sleep because she was worried that World War III was starting. My son is asking me, which team is winning? And they all understand it differently, but the trauma remains, and it's just a microcosm, of course, of what all of those families in the South who have suffered such brutality and such awful, horrific, unimaginable devastation to their families, to their loved ones, to their friends, and they're going to have to deal with that not only today but every day going forward. The trauma is under discussed, but it will remain for a long time.
President Biden said today, obviously, he cannot discuss the details of what he is trying to do to get the hostages back. How do you prioritize what we should be doing at this point?
I think you hit on all cylinders. It's not a mutually exclusive situation where you either get hostages, you either support Israel, you either try to get the Americans home who are stranded there. We do it all here, and I think this administration has demonstrated its ability to operate on multiple different fronts, and certainly President Biden has ordered the military and the FBI and other assets of the American government to assist Israel in getting back the hostages. And I know that returning Americans home is a huge priority for the State Department and for this government. And so we'll continue to push for everything to be done. And we certainly stand ready, at least in the Democratic Party in Congress, to pass whatever legislation is needed to make sure Israel has what it needs to defend itself, and hopefully the Republicans can get their act in order so that we can actually have an operational House of Representatives to pass legislation.
You know, I think most viewers, or many viewers who've never been to Israel, really get their coverage of it in crisis, and possibly think of it as a place that is in permanent crisis all the time, that it's always dangerous to go there. I remember when I returned from my first trip to Israel way back in the 1990s, it was a Senate trip when I was working in the Senate. I kept telling people, you know, what I was really surprised about is what a great tourist destination it is, as long as it's calm, as it mostly was when I was there. Talk about the Israel that you were in the day before the attack and the way life looked in Israel the day before.
Israel is a country about the size of New Jersey, but the diversity of its geography and its topography, and of course the history that is there. There's wine country, there are beaches, there's Jerusalem, which is perhaps the holiest place in the world for many religions. And it's also a tech hub. Some of the world's greatest technology and technological advances have come from Israel. Tel Aviv is a beautiful beach city. It's a really remarkable place. And the difference here, Lawrence, and why I think we need to really understand that what happened on Saturday is wholly and entirely different than what the cycle of violence that you referred to, that we have become somewhat numb to. And it's usually minor incursions and then retaliations, and there's always tension. But this was one of the worst terrorist attacks in history, worse in many respects than 9/11, certainly on the level of whatever ISIS has done and al-Qaeda. And that is very different in Israel. That is not what life is like in Israel, even when it's unsettled. And so we need to draw a distinction between Hamas, the terrorist organization, and the Palestinian people. And it is my firm belief that if we can eliminate Hamas, especially from the Gaza Strip, that will not only benefit the peace and security of Israel, but it will also benefit the peace, security, and prosperity of the Palestinian people. And that's what we should be striving for. We must rid Israel of terrorism, and we must find a way to boost the Palestinian people so that there can be peace in the Middle East.